I only have fond memories of my childhood. I lived in a happy and safe environment with my family and my adorable dog. I was a playful child, full of energy and always out on the streets with my friends to have fun. I had the best parents, and at the time, I also had a boyfriend who I loved. However, at the end of age 17, everything went wrong. From a very young age, ballet dancing has always been my passion. I dreamed of being part of the National Ballet, and after middle school, I decided to pursue my dream and was accepted at a very famous ballet company. Every day, I had to travel 3 hours with the train to get there, but I didn't mind. I was able to dance up to 26 hours a week. What more could I wish for? Until I suddenly became very sick. I also started to develop skin allergies and had to be referred to the hospital where they could do all sorts of examinations. I was exhausted by the many hospital visits, but I still continued attending ballet classes. That's who I am. I am not a quitter and don't want to bother others, even when I feel miserable. The physical and mental stress was weakening my body. I was so tired that not even my dog could cheer me up. I couldn't handle it anymore. Whenever I stood on the platform waiting for the train to bring me to the academy, I would often think, and still, I tried my best to hide it from everyone else. My life was perfect, right? One day when I was walking through the city, I suddenly felt stabbing pains in my chest and became short of breath. I felt weird, but I didn't mention anything to my parents or my boyfriend, as I didn't want them to worry. That night, I let a cup of tea fall out of my right hand as I started to lose all feeling in my right arm. My parents and I rushed to the hospital. The doctors told me that it was hyperventilation, but that had nothing to do with hyperventilation. This is how the misdiagnosis occurred, by relying on what was on record on the computer, rather than asking me questions and listening to me. My situation was getting worse by the day. We had to go back to another doctor who referred me to a neurologist who finally started taking me seriously. For 2 months, I had to undergo all sorts of uncomfortable examinations, ranging from a CT scan of my brain to extensive neurological blood tests. There were also MRI scans of my brain, neck, and spine, and even more blood tests that had to be taken. After all this, the doctor asked me if I had been bitten by a tick. Yes, I had. My parents were certain. It was Lyme disease. I didn't want to believe it yet, and pretended like nothing was wrong. But I kept feeling worse. My body was telling me stop, but I tried to keep going. The right side of my body was paralyzed. The bottom of my back became blue and red circles started forming, something the doctors couldn't explain. I was extremely tired and could barely stand up or walk. All the energy I had was being sucked out of me. I couldn't take it anymore. Even celebrating my own birthday was too much. I was starting to forget things, especially my short-term memory. I had trouble speaking properly and found it difficult to find my words. I would wake up in the middle of the night drenched in sweat, was starting to lose a lot of weight, and became extremely sensitive to light and sound. It was as if I was allergic to everything, and still, no one had told me what was wrong with me. My doctor told me, "No, this isn't Lyme disease. Your blood tests came back negative." Even though it is known that the disease no longer comes up in your blood tests if you've had it for a long period of time. I asked him, "What's wrong with me then?" And he answered, "I don't know." Once again, we were sent to the hospital with no answers. My parents and I decided to take matters into our own hands and found a private clinic that specialized in Lyme disease. Luckily, we were able to get an appointment straight away once they heard my symptoms. They spent 2 hours doing extensive specialized tests. It showed that because of the Lyme disease, there were 7 different bacteria attacking my body, one which caused a brain virus. My parents and I were devastated when we heard the results. I didn't know what to do. Strange, huh? All this misery because of one tiny insect. The doctors in the clinic told me that, luckily, my immune system was really good and that I was a fighter. Lyme disease is underestimated and not taken seriously, But the reality is that it is an awful, debilitating illness. For many, it is chronic and paralyzing. This is a disease that causes severe exhaustion, constant pain, and memory loss. It can even cause blindness. I want to share my story about my fight against Lyme disease because this sickness isn't spoken about a lot and often misunderstood. I'm doing much better now. My illness hasn't stopped me from living my life. It was a long, difficult road, but I have learned that life is worth fighting for. My wish for when I get better is to continue doing the things I've always dreamed of. That I am able to live a normal life without pain and special diets. And between you and me, I'd also really like to be able to eat sweets and chocolate with my boyfriend again. One day, that day will come.